Welcome to the Music and Fine Arts edition of today's Google Hangout. We want to welcome you here today. We're very, very excited to have an opportunity to allow you to listen in on a very powerful and profound conversation. We're getting ready for our Pastors and Leadership Conference. It's going to be April 25th through the 27th. And these are some of our esteemed panelists, and we're going to be talking to them today. Not shown here is John Maxwell, who's going to be joining us. My wife, Serita A, Dr. Steve Perry, Alvin Brown, Dr. Walter Scott, Pastor John Jenkins, Bishop Joby Brady, and just on and on and on. It's absolutely incredible. We're excited about it. But today, we have a unique opportunity, not just to talk to the preachers, but to talk to some of those who undergird ministry and who understand music and fine arts and their significance in a contemporary church today. Joining us is Rodney Jerkins, Dexter Jakes, Marcus Dawson, and also Mickey Costello is joining us as well. And we're going to have a very provocative conversation. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this Google chat.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. You know, when we start talking about music and fine arts, and today, Mickey, there is a very profound opportunity, not just for preachers and for singers, but for people who really want to study and understand dance and to worship God in a dance. Tell us how you got started in that pursuit.
Bishop, I've been teaching dance now for about 25 years, and the last 10 years have absolutely blown my mind of how dance has evolved in television and just really come into the forefront of all these reality shows concerning dance. But 25 years ago, that wasn't the case. Dance was not heard of in church. As a matter of fact, I heard it preached against back in the 80s, that if you danced in church, it was wrong. But God has really used that gift as an instrument to preach the gospel in creative ways. And we have to stay current. We have to stay fresh and evolve as the times are evolving in dance.
As a choreographer, you have put together many dance presentations for us that help to glorify God. How hard is it to bring about that unity? And what I really like is that you use all modalities of dance to project the gospel. Talk about some of those modalities and how you bring that choreography together.
Okay. I think we have to be really careful that when we do take the platform and whatever area our gift is, not to be boring in what we do, not to present the same type of movements, just a different song, or the same type of movements, just a different garment. We have to go beyond what we are comfortable with, and we have to be willing to stretch ourselves and to become educated in dance and take dance classes, get some dance training, bring instructors to you that can teach you what you want to present. And I think we've done just that here. We really strive not to be in a box. I don't want to just stay lyrical. I want to stay modern. I want to stay contemporary. I want to be African. I want to be hip-hop. I want to be everything that maybe pushes me out of my comfort zone. And we bring those instructors here to teach us with excellent skill and precision. And we study that training for weeks and weeks and weeks before we actually began to put choreography with it. So we actually know the difference in what is ballet versus what is modern, what is hip-hop versus what is step. And there is a difference. And when we present it, we have to sit in it. We have to meditate upon the song and understand, what is this verse saying? A lot of times dancers will get stuck just moving their arms and not really realizing we can make that more effective if we bring forth creative garments, creative makeup, fabrics to just ripple and flow across the platform to really express how the blood flowed down and changed our lives. So we bring the crimson red fabrics out and actually make it visual, a visual presentation, so that people understand what we're saying. And we're not just standing in one spot moving.
That's a powerful thing. I mean, our church has certainly reaped the benefit from your tutelage, but also people from around the country come to your workshops and sessions so that they can carry it back to their church as well. Rodney, we're excited to have you here today. What can I say about you? You produce for everybody from Michael Jackson to Whitney Houston to Justin Bieber, Britney Spears, Mary Yolanda Adams, and you're a PK, so you understand all the various facets of music.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to lend some of my know-how, my ability to help others, with reaching their goals.
you know, when you start looking back at your career, your illustrious career, and having sold over 150 million records, very, very successful and highly sought after, for you to come in and teach a workshop, where do you see gospel artists and gospel production going, and what do you think that some of the producers are missing and artists are missing that could enhance their ability to project it even to a mainstream audience?
You know, and it's funny you mention that. We have to be able to recognize the excellence in our gift. I think in the gospel industry too much, what happens is the artists, the producer, rather, producers and the songwriters, they're not honing in on the actual sonics. And the sonics is one of the most important things. It's the difference in even radio. When you listen to certain songs on radio, if the music doesn't have a certain clarity, a certain precision in its clarity, then it begins to sound mediocre. So what we have to push for is that excellence, and we got to raise that bar, even in the sonics, and then melodically. I think right now it's something. There's something going on right now where gospel music is on the verge to becoming more mainstream, but we have to take it serious and present it on a certain level. Just like in the movie industry, when you make certain movies, it has to have certain type of actors and actresses to help make it become such a great product. And we have to take that same seriousness even when we're making music. It's the same. To get that result, we have to take it real serious.
You know, there are people who have given so many years of their life to preparation and training. My own son is joining us, Dexter JAKES, who chose to go to a music school that really focused even as far back as high school. Dexter, talk a little bit about what your aspirations are and what you think as a younger person, 18 years old, about music and what it means to you as an individual.
Well, I'll start off really with what music really means to me, because it's what's going to drive me the most. My overall love for music is what drives me right now. Right now I produce music and I play piano, and I'm using my piano gift to help me with production. Overall, music is just a way for me to express myself, and I believe art is just like that. It's just a way for you to express yourself, and I choose to do that through my music. And when other people are impacted by it, it's just a plus by it, you know. I just do it because I love it.
Rodney, you just met the president of your fan club.
I can't wait to meet him personally in person, because I'm sure he has a great gift, and I could probably help him even take that gift to another level.
You know, that's what's really great. Nobody, no matter how gifted or talented you are, can be your best without somebody mentoring you. I mean, Tiger Woods had a coach. It doesn't matter who you are. To take the time and invest in your gift so that you can be the best that you can be is very, very important. Marcus Dawson is joining us. He's been involved in production. He also is a PK. There's a lot of PKs with us today. He's worked in our music department, creative arts department for nearly 25 years. Well, Marcus, what do you think about the trends in music today, and how much artists and worship leaders and recording artists need to take time from just taking gigs, so to speak, really to find out about the business and the art and the importance of music?
I think it speaks to being able to see or at least anticipate what you want as it relates to your career ending. And when you talk about the business of it, a lot of times artists, they spend so much time on the road, so much time running around, that they don't take time to look at copyright, to look at publishing, you know, to look at the administrative areas that also you're responsible for when you have a gift. And it speaks to stewardship. And that's something that I'm excited about, because we'll cover that in detail at the Pastors and Leaders Conference this year. I mean, we've got Rodney that'll be talking about production. We'll cover everything from publishing to contracts. You know, what is a good contract? You know, should you self-publish at this point, or should you connect with another publishing company to help take your work even further? So I'm excited, sir. But I think to answer your question, you have to really look at your gift and look down the road to see where you want that to end up. And you have to take those proper steps. I'm an administrative person. I love the paperwork. I've played for you for many years playing the organ, but I love the administrative side of the business. And so I'm excited about sharing that.
You know, in case you're just joining us, you have joined into the Music and Fine Arts edition of today's Google Chat. We're prepping for our Pastors and Leadership Conference, April 25th through the 27th. If you want to find out more about it, you can go to our website, pastorsandleaders.org, or you can dial 1-800-BISHOP-2 and register. This is not just for pastors, but this is for artists, this is for singers, this is for worship leaders, it's for people involved in dance, people involved in social media, data management, accounting, all areas. We're going to do with all facets of the infrastructure of what it takes to be effective today. Rodney, there are so many people that have aspirations, but they can't get it off the ground. Every time I turn around on my Twitter page, somebody's sending me a link to something that they're producing and they can't get it off the ground. Whether they are combining music to videos, music videos, soundtracks for movies, or whether they're just writing worship songs. It seems like in the social media age, it ought to be easier to get things off the ground than it used to be. How much has social media affected the process of music, and what do they need to understand in order to take it to the next level?
You know, when I was 16 years old and first getting started, I had to catch a bus 2.5 hours from South Jersey to New York, only to stand outside of office buildings giving executives my music, only to see even executives look at the CD or the tape or whatever and throw it in the garbage can. It's very hard. It's a small industry, but because of social media, the internet has become the new A&R. It has become the way we can get our music out there, really push ourselves with YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all these different, these different social networks. You can actually put the music out yourself. And what's interesting is that you can get discovered much quickly this way, because people like myself and people that work for me, we're online all the time trying to discover new talent, and it's really the new A&R. So I'm all for social networking and the social media aspect of trying to get yourself out there.
It's very, very important that you do get that exposure and get those opportunities to get your voice out there and get it heard correctly, and then produce a kind of project that when it is heard, it leaves a very positive impression. Sometimes people are disseminating music that doesn't really rise to the quality that is necessary to be respected on the level that they want to be respected on. That's why I believe that God gives you a gift, but what you do with that gift is your gift back to God.
Absolutely.
When you get those opportunities then to refine your skills and increase your abilities, I think it really takes it to the next level. I also want you all to be comfortable enough, if you have a question that you want to ask Rodney or you want to direct to Marcus or Dexter or anybody, just jump right in and chime in on this process. Marcus, you and I were talking the other day about one of the unique things that we do at the Potter's House that we're going to be teaching on is bundling gifts. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, sir. I think as we were talking the other day, we were just talking about the opportunities that we have in worship. And I think we are, in this day and age, it used to be very simple where the worship experience could be very traditional and you could get away with it. But now it has to be engaging. We have to work constantly to enhance that experience to make sure that we're cutting edge. To be quite frank, with the internet and with, as Rodney was talking about, YouTube and Twitter and all of these different models, I mean, people have too many options now. So when they walk into your house of worship, it needs to be so engaging that they feel like they've had a holistic experience. And so as you talk about bundling, we were just talking about how a lot of what we do here at the Potter's House starts with a conversation between you and I. Mm-hmm. And it'll start off with just an idea that you may have. In particular, we are right at Easter now. And I remember a few years ago, you gave me an idea about doing something with Joseph, telling the story from Joseph's perspective. Well, we had the conversation. I came back. I talked to Mickey. I talked to Jamar. I talked to everybody that works in different departments, from our technical people, from our sound guys, from our lighting guys, and from all of our writers. And we came together to figure out how we could tell that message corporately as opposed to individually, where instead of Mickey doing a dance for Easter, independent of Jamar and the praise team, we brought those things together. So bundling is important. I think we're able to have a much greater impact when we work together.
So what you're talking about is worship leaders, choir directors, everybody, television, lighting, sound.
Directors, absolutely, everybody. You've got the band, you've got the praise team, you've got script writers. We've gone as far as to use painters inside of worship, where we had a guy come in and do a speed painting in the middle of a worship set. The canvas comes down from the ceiling. He paints in the middle of a song. He's got 1 minute and 15 seconds to make that painting happen. At the end of that moment, the praise team comes in, and so we're able to tell in 10 minutes collectively what it would take us to tell, maybe 2 or 3 hours if everybody worked individually. So bundling is very important as it relates to having an effective worship service.
Incidentally, Mickey looks like she's about to jump in. If you want to get yeah, I see you sitting on the edge of your seat. If you want to get a sample of some of this great work that we do when we bundle our projects, you can go to tdjakes.org and download a sample of some of our Easter productions and some of the work that we've done, and see some of the choreography that Mickey has done and Marcus and our entire creative arts department has done. Mickey, jump right in.
Okay, I was reminded of last year, I think it was for Women There at Loosed, when you wanted us to all come together and focus on the theme facing forward. And we were throwing around different ideas about choreography and dancing with masks on our faces or on the back of our heads. And what I loved about that piece so much is that we weren't afraid to jump in and use different styles and types of music, because it was so cutting edge and it was so captivating that it truly told the story from the song that went before it to the dance piece to what you preached. It all fit together, and it told the bigger story and the bigger picture about how we need to face forward. And the sermon that you preached that night, Bishop, it was phenomenal. Whereas if it just stood alone, people might not have understood it. They might not have got it. But because we had the voiceovers and because we had the music and the choreography and everything just fit hand in glove, it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. You are exactly right. If you are watching and you got a chance to catch Bible stories, and I don't know where you are on the planet if you didn't get to catch it, it's been absolutely amazing. Everybody's talking about it. Just think this broke all records for television. Reaching over 29 million people and still climbing, going crazy. There is no one preacher that could get up there and preach for an hour for 6 weeks and captivate 29 million people. But when you take the visual arts and the dance and the music and the production and you put it all together, you reach a much wider audience. As a pastor, I have learned to support the creative arts department and send them to get the training that they need. Doesn't take anything away from preaching. But as I said, I don't care how well you preach, you're not going to get 29 million viewers like Bible Stories did when they take what we preach every Sunday and took all of these fine people and put them together and bundled those gifts. It cost an entirely different direction.
Yeah, sir, I wanted to just jump in and add to that. Also, it becomes very engaging for people that may be in your congregation who may not sing, who may not play the organ or who may not preach. It still lends a platform for them to use their gifts inside the church.
That now using those gifts inside the church are very, very important. The attrition rate of people who join the church and get involved in the church are far less likely to leave the church rather than just spectators. And I think because so many churches have such a narrow window through which they can become involved. If you're not a preacher, if you're not a singer, you can't be involved. My son Dexter sings. He doesn't want people to know that, but he can sing. Keep it quiet. He does sing. He does other things, but he likes to work behind the scenes. Yeah. How important is it for you, Dexter, to feel like you can still give your gift to God without necessarily being on stage?
I feel like production allows me to do that because I can work with so many different people, and especially if I have a diverse sound, then I can work with several different people and not just use my gift, on this type of music, because I listen to all kinds of music, so of course I'm attracted to, different genres, but I can still magnify God. And I believe that it's really what's inside of me that really matters. I'm going to glorify God through all my ways, and it's what I do with the person in the studio. And, I want them to see God through me. I want to be an instrument, and that's no matter, what sound I'm producing, I want them to be able to see that through me.
Mm-hmm. Ronnie, that's how you have been able to reach as many people as you have. Talk a little bit about your philosophy and career. And I heard a story. I don't know if this is true. I don't want to put you on blast out here. But I heard you and your dad used to work with Michael Jackson. You used to arrive in the studio earlier and just pray for him and pray for his life. How important has your faith been as you've had an opportunity to touch people that say somebody like me behind the pulpit may not ever get to touch?
It's actually how it started for me. When I was 14 years old, I had a dream. That I would be working. In my dream, it was Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson and James Brown, and I couldn't understand the dream, and I woke, and I was preaching to them in my dream, and I asked my father what that meant. He said he believes that God is going to put me before those type of men, and I would be able to witness to them. So once my professional career started at a young age, I found myself in the studio with likes of people like Michael Jackson, Mason Bethel, who got saved through me. I prayed. We prayed. We used to bless the walls with oil, anoint the walls with oil before our sessions would start. And I never forget a short story. Michael Jackson came into our building one time, and he said, I sense a spirit in this building. I sense a sweet spirit in this building. And I said, that's because we just anointed the wall. He said, well, will you pray for me? And you know, I never try to put it out there so much. I let God do the talking to me. If I hear him say, you know, like with Mace, where God just said right now, and we were in a session. I mean, I'm work for hire at that point. But yet I felt I needed to share my faith with him. And then, you know, minutes later, he was actually crying in the booth. And I feel like God has put me before men, like you said, Bishop, that, you know, certain people may not be able to get to. And so I have a responsibility to share Christ with those people.
You know, so many Christians today want to remain totally detached from secular people. But if, in fact, the church is the salt of the earth, we can't stay in the salt shaker and really touch people's lives. You have to be able to get out there and interact with people and show love and kindness and be able to connect with them, and then wait for those opportunities to come by where you can show your faith. If you're just joining us, we're talking about this great event that's going to be going on April 25th through the 27th, Pastors and Leadership Conference. You say, well, I don't see a bunch of pastors on here. That's because these are the people who undergird the ministries. They are the Aarons and Hur that lift up the arms of great pastors. There's so many pastors out there who have great vision and, frankly, great preaching ability, but they're unable to reach the hope of their calling because the people up under them are not trained or given an opportunity to undergird those sermons with dance, with drama, with music, with lighting, with technology, with television, with streaming over the internet. They're not taking advantage of all the opportunities before them. They may be very good men, but you could be a mailman and still delivering on a horse and buggy. You're still delivering mail, but you need to update so that you can keep up with the times. And that's exactly what our Pastors and Leadership Conference is all about. April 25th through the 27th, we're going to be in Dallas, Texas, and we want to help churches so that no church is left behind of the global conversation. The amazing thing for me is that I can minister today and get tweets and get Facebook comments from people in Nigeria, from people in Ghana, from people in Australia, around the world. And so all kinds of people are hearing you today, not just the people who are used to and enjoy church in a very traditional way. I think, Dexter, you were saying you had some questions that you wanted to whip out and share with Rodney, so just jump right in.
What exactly inspired you to really do music, other than I know that being in church and being a PK, of course, can be a heavy influence on, you know, your music. But, you know, what was the thing that set you apart from anyone else just listening to that music? You know, what about it was the thing that made you want to do it and pursue it as, you know, your career?
You know what's funny, Dexter, is that as a child growing up in my house, I come from a Pentecostal holiness background, and so secular music was forbidden in our house. And we grew up on the Winans. That's, you know, it was Winans and Hezekiah Walker all day, every day. And I used to sneak R&B music, you know, in the house. I used to listen to a group called Guy, and it was produced by the name of Teddy Riley, who I just thought was incredible. And for some reason, I was like, I want to make this music. And as I started working on my craft as a young child, I mean, I was 10 years old working on music. I was 16 years old producing Patti LaBelle, and I really saw it more so at a young age, not so much for glorifying myself, but I really saw it as an opportunity to reach people. I really believe I was in the four walls of the church so much that I felt like ministry had to go outside of the four walls, and I really knew in my heart of hearts that you can't. The opportunity to witness to a Justin Bieber doesn't come every day, and so if it takes me giving him a song, if it takes me working on a song with him just to give him a seed, then that's the business that I need to be in, and that's where God took me, and that's where I'm at.
And you also get to make a whole lot of money.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just to that point, I was going to say this about Rodney, and I know him pretty well. We talk on a regular basis. One thing I really admire about him is how he preserves his brand. And he's very knowledgeable about the business. We've talked publishing at length. And, you know, a lot of guys who, if they get an opportunity to sell off a Michael Jackson song for $10 million, they'll do it. You know, but he understands that that's real estate. You know, when you've written a song, that song is real estate. And the publishing behind it and the different components that are all a part of that song, that song becomes like buying a house, you know, and owning a house. And so I really admire Rodney for that. Not only is he very gifted, but he's extremely knowledgeable as it relates to the business.
I think it's very important that you also be practical. We have a lot of people who are waiting on somebody to hire them, and when they see somebody like Rodney Jerkins, who's hired himself and become a brand in his own rights, it gives him hope. If God has given you a gift, the Bible says that gift will bring you before great men. And to be able to monetize that gifting is very critical. You can't take care of your family if you don't have any kind of income. I've seen singers and artists who really love the music, and they love to sing, and they love to do what they do. But, Rodney, if they don't understand business, they can sing all day long and end up broke.
Yeah, you have to understand this business, and it's a very tricky business. It's not the easiest business to understand, but you do need to understand it. You need to understand the publishing. If you're in the music side of songwriting, you have to understand publishing. That is the most crucial. That's your kids' money. As simple as that. So you need to understand what that is. You also understand, even from a spiritual side, that tithing is a necessity. You need to tithe. People don't understand. I don't understand how sometimes people can actually give 20% to a manager, but can't give 10% to the storehouse.
Oh wow! Can I keep that line? I'm going to use that Sunday.
yeah. I mean, it's just important. I was brought up, and my father taught me that if you make $10 doing this, then the dollar needs to go to church. And so, from my whole career, that's just been a thing that I've always had. It's a mandate in my life. I have to tithe. It's a must. I cannot rob God of what He deserves. And if more people will understand that, I believe even more blessings would flow.
You know, I looked around and I saw, Mickey, when you began to do your dance conferences, I saw everything. They were doing step, they were doing hip hop, they were doing ballet, they were doing everything. And there's this young white girl up there doing hip hop and all kinds of stuff. How important is it today for us to break out of stereotypes and break away from molds and bring all cultural influences together so that people can see that our God is broader than just one culture?
Bishop, we have to be on the cutting edge of what the Holy Spirit is saying through dance, and that is going, like I said before, that's going beyond your personal comfort zone. I was a cheerleader all my life, so my style of dance comes forth very militant and very precise. And so when I actually had to take some ballet classes, you know, I was shocked. But we have to be on the cutting edge of what the people want, what the people are speaking. And when I began to incorporate that into my choreography and got out of Mickey's comfort zone of what I could get on the stage and do, and realized this goes beyond me, that this is a tool that preaches the gospel, and I want to reach, you know, with my vocabulary, I want to reach the ballerinas. Mm-hmm. I want to reach the hip-hop dancers. I want to reach the steppers. I want to reach the contemporary dancers. And the only way to do that is to present it, but to present it with excellence, with skill and precision. And out of all the scriptures in the Bible that I love that talk about dance, you know, dancing before the Lord and Timberland dance, the scripture that stuck out with the most for years is Psalms 47:7, where it talks about sing praises with a skillful psalm. Mm-hmm. And I sat on that scripture and realized we have to continue to educate ourselves and to get training and to become skillful in the gift that God has given us. And that means taking dance classes, or like I said, bringing instructors in, because I want to speak to the congregation. I don't want them to be bored. Mm-hmm. And if we are the salt of the earth, I want to spice it up. I want to add flavor, you know.
You do spice it up. How many people have you had on the stage dancing at one time? Because one time I thought you almost had the whole church dancing. They were coming from everywhere all over our church.
It was absolutely amazing. I think at one time, one of our dance conferences, we pushed 550 dancers. And like you said, from every style imaginable, to even the crumpers. You know, there's crumpers out there. I got to understand this crumping, but we had the crumpers out there. It was almost 550 dancers coming together in one mind and one accord, and how we complement each other with this gift was absolutely phenomenal.
You know, there's some people watching us right now, and they're a little shy, they're a little intimidated. They're used to worshiping in a church, maybe it's got 50 or 60 people in it, and everybody looks like them, votes like them, dresses like them. And as you begin to challenge them and as you begin to train them, there is no person too young or too old not to have an opportunity. If they have a passion for dance, do you really believe you can help them?
Absolutely. And I think it boils down to just that. It is about passion. God is wanting to use people that are passionate and creative. Bishop, I would rather work with people that just get out there and give it all, and we can kind of train them and say, okay, tone this down or use this, than people that just sit on their hips all day long and we have to continue to push them and put a fire under them. Get out there, baby. Use your gift. Do what God has called you to do. Go big or go home. You know, we have to do it big, and we have to do it with all that is within us, and He will bless that. God will bless that.
If you have any aspirations to dance, you need to be in this class. People come from all over the country. People are coming from overseas to have an opportunity to experience the various modalities of dance and to become involved in it. If you've got people in your church, Pastor, that are doing it, but you know, some of these people who are doing it in church, they love the Lord, but they need some classes, Pastor.
Right.
Praise God. They need some real classes. I saw them on YouTube. They need some classes, man of God. Invest in them. Invest in them. You can't reap a harvest if you don't sow a seed. Rodney, I want you to give us a little sneak preview. Don't give it all away, but of what you're going to be talking about during your workshop at the Pastors and Leadership Conference.
We're going to be talking about publishing. We're going to be talking about monetization, of course, and we're going to be talking about how to get your music heard to the right people. Mm-hmm. That's the key, to the right people. Talking about how to enhance your skills. You know, something that Mickey said earlier about evolving, and that's really important because when you mentioned, Bishop, what's the difference in gospel, and I said excellence and perfection and precision. Evolving is so important because in the church, even in the church, the music has to go to the next level. It can't sound, a lot of the gospel music that is out there sounds dated. So it sounds like stuff that might have been on the secular side 10 years ago when it should be sounding like it should be ahead of the curve. So we're going to talk about how the type of technology you need to use in order to get that sound.
This is so very important in a corporate sense. When you have a CEO, the CEO actually is a visionary, and one of the responsibilities is for the visionary to envision things, but not to facilitate them. The people up under you help to facilitate those things. And if you don't have a vision that you can pass to the hands of somebody who can update it and keep it contemporary and manifest it, then the vision dies. Without a vision, the people perish, and without a people, the vision perishes. You might have great vision, Pastor, but if you don't have a people up under you who can turn that into something significant, it's amazing. Marcus, so many times you and I have set up and talked, and maybe I've drawn something on a piece of bounty paper towel, or you know, I'll be talking in strange language, and then you interpret it. And don't embarrass me now, but how hard is it to interpret what I'm envisioning into the music language so that our band and our choir directors and all of our people can facilitate the vision?
Yeah, well, this speaks actually to the seminar that I'm doing, sir, which is themed the relationship between the pastor and the musician. And part of that is just in me respecting you and getting to know you as a leader, where you shouldn't have to give me all the details every time. I mean, if I've seen you walk in a room and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I should be able to walk in that room and articulate those 5 points, whether you're in that room or not. And so that's one of the things that I love. I mean, you know, one thing that you described early on was, you know, a great musician should be one that provides a canvas on which you paint. And
absolutely,
across the board. I mean, from not just you giving me direction as it relates to engaging the rest of the team, but every night you mount the platform to preach. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same model. And I carry that very careful. I mean, I want to make sure that if you give an assignment, that we run with it exactly like you expected it. And that, to me, is the greatest gift.
It's a gift. It's a gift to the church. The church benefits from our unity. It's a gift to me as a pastor because I'm able to communicate some things. You know, I might tell Marcus, you know, I hear running water, and if we had, you know, it'd be weird what I communicate. But then when I see it, Marcus has often said that the litmus test of success is for me to see outwardly performed what I envision inwardly. That's when the oil is flowing from the head to the beard to the skirts. Not being diluted, not being polluted, but moving effectively down the course. Dexter, when you start talking about your generation and the younger generation, how important is it for them to not just sit back, wish and dream, but to take advantage of these kinds of opportunities to be exposed to a Rodney Jerkins, to be exposed to a Mickey Costello or Marcus Dawson? How important is it to have that mentoring opportunity?
I think in order to master anything, you have to study the greats. And a part of that is really watching, you know, knowledgeable people, you know, talk and express, you know, the importance of finding out about publishing and copyright and things like that. You just learn the business because a lot of people just, you know, stay within the boundaries of creativity. And I feel like sometimes you have to be creative and you also have to have that business hustle in you. So I think it's very important for young people to realize that just being creative isn't always enough to make it in any business. And I'm sure that if they come to this session, they'll realize that, you know, there's a lot more than just pressing notes and things like that to music. It's more of a business that you want to be into, and it's very important for us to learn that.
Rodney, now you correct me on this, but I think that sometimes when you come to a meeting like this, you get the benefit of, as my son said, being taught by the greats, but you also get an opportunity to network with people in the industry. How important is relationships in this business?
You know, relationships is everything, Bishop, everything. I've been in the music industry for almost 20 years now, and I say it's relationship. Yes, I have a gift, I have a talent, but I've also cultivated a lot of relationships along the way, and I've made sure that I kept those relationships and then hindering relationships. That's what's really important in this industry.
You know, I thank you for that. That is very important for clergy as well. When you come to a conference and you get to meet people and rub shoulders and go to lunch with people that you normally wouldn't have access, you get ideas. Somebody's written a song, somebody has lyrics, somebody puts music to it, somebody does production. Next thing you know, that's where deals are made. In business, deals are not made around the boardroom. They're made on the golf course in places where people interact and intersect with each other. It's very, very important. If you just logged on, you're watching the Music and Fine Arts edition of today's Google Chat, and we're chatting about the Pastors and Leadership Conference that is scheduled to take place here in Dallas, Texas, April 25th through the 27th. If you want more detailed information on all the various seminars, it's not just worship leaders, choir directors, dance, production, all aspects of music, but it's also about publishing. It's about business deals. It's about how to really get behind the vision, how to market the gifts that are in your church, how to collect data, how to organize your staff so that you can be effective, how to do the Lord's business with excellence, accounting, all aspects of that. Then we're going to be training pastors. My wife is going to be talking to pastors and ministers while John Maxwell, one of the premier voices of leadership, is going to be speaking. You're seldom going to get an opportunity to be in the room with John Maxwell, Serita Jakes, Dr. Steve Perry, Alvin Brown, Walter Scott Thomas, John Jenkins, Joby Brady, on and on and on, as well as these fine folks that we have here and others. You ought to take the time off from your busy schedule. You know, busyness can be the enemy of greatness. Just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're great. Really great people take the time to really hone their skills and do what they need to do to go to the top. I'm almost out of time, but I've got just a moment or two. I want to give each of you a chance for a last word or a final thought that is significant to you in your area of expertise.
I'll start off by telling everyone, invest in yourself. If you believe in your gift and if you believe in your ability and you believe in your talent, you have to invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Get to this conference because it will impact you as it's going to impact me just being there to be able to help give some of these gems away.
Amen.
Great.
Who's next?
Okay, I'll go next. One of the things I'm going to really teach on in the class is how to bring forth your dance effectively, how to pick the right song, how to build that choreography so that you build with the music, and how to cover yourself appropriately. A lot of women have the beautiful skill and beautiful talent, but we can't get past what they're wearing because it's not appropriate and can be embarrassing to not only them but to the viewers. So we want to talk about garments and makeup and just how to keep it on the cutting edge of creativity, Bishop, how to really push it forward and allow the dance to build and enhance the preaching of the word that's coming, which is the seed, and the seed needs to be planted on ground that's been made ready by what we do before you take the pulpit, how to prepare the hearts of the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, for me, Bishop, for years we get tons of requests for the music department to do a conference or to do a seminar, workshop, or something like that. So what we've tried to do is present all of those pieces that people have asked us for, plus things that we know they would need to know inside of the Pastors and Leadership Conference. So you're getting exactly what you asked for when you come to this Pastors and Leaders Conference. We'll be there.
Okay. Dexter.
I'm really looking forward to, just sitting in the session and listening to, great people talk about things that really motivate me and, things that I'm very concerned about, things that are very close to my heart, music and finding out different things that I need to know that will propel me later on in my career.
This is an exciting time. It is about propelling yourself. From 18 to 80, you can never stop learning or stop growing. So many people think that because they're 40, 50, 60, that they're accomplished and they know everything that there is to know. But doctors go back and they take additional training. Lawyers pick up extra courses. Businessmen go back to be trained. Salesmen are forever in seminars or sessions. Greatness costs something. You have to invest in it, and you have to keep sharpening yourself, or you can become irrelevant and not even know it. Listen, we're so glad about the Pastors and Leadership Conference. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas, April 25th through the 27th. For more information, you can go to pastorsandleaders.org or 1-800-BISHOP-2. I want to take this opportunity to thank Rodney Jerkins, alias Darkchild, Dexter Jakes, Marcus Dawson, and also Mickey Castillo for joining us today, taking time out of your busy schedule. We have presented to you the Music and Fine Arts edition of the Google Chat right here today. Thank you so very much.